हरिः ओं तत्सत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओं। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते गुरुपवनपुरेशाय। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। ॐ नमो भगवते कृष्णाय। हे कृष्ण गुरुपवनपुरेश नारायणमूर्ते भगवन् परमात्मन् सर्वव्यापिन् सर्वरूपिन् सर्वस्वरूपिन् सर्वाधार सर्वज्ञानाधार ज्ञानरूप ज्ञानस्वरूप रक्ष रक्ष जगदीश्वर परमेश्वर। ओम हरि ओम तत्सत्। सो प्रथमं दशकं, as I said already, in this dashakam Bhagavat Swarupa Varnanam, the description of Bhagavan's essential nature is the subject matter of this whole first chapter. The main topic of the first chapter is Bhagavan Swarupam, essential nature of Bhagavan. So we'll read the first two verses before we go to the third verse. You can listen to me and then you can also chant after me. Sandranandavabodhatmakamanupamitam Sandranandavabodhatmakamanupamitam Kaladeshavadhibhyam nirmuktam Kaladeshavadhibhyam nirmuktam Nityamuktam Nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam Nityamuktam Nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam Aspashtam drishtamatre punaruru purusharthatmakam brahma tattvam Aspashtam drishtamatre punaruru purusharthatmakam brahma tattvam Tattavat bhati sakshat Guru Pavanapure hanta bhagyanjananam Tattavat bhati sakshat Guru Pavanapure hanta bhagyanjananam Yevan durlabhyavastunnyapi sulabhataya hastalabdhe yadanyat Yevan durlabhyavastunnyapi sulabhataya hastalabdhe yadanyat Tanva vacha dhiya va bhajati bata janaha kshudrataiva sphutehyam tanva vacha dhyava bhajati bata janaha kshudrataiva sphutehyam. See, whenever visarga comes before visaksha, it should pronounce fully. Tanva vacha dhyava bhajati bata janaha kshudrataiva sphutehyam yete tavadvayantu sthiratara manasa vishwapida pahatyai yete tavadvayantu sthiratara manasa vishwapida pahatyai nisseshatmanamenam guru pavana puradhishamevashrayamaha nisseshatmanamenam guru pavana puradhishamevashrayamaha. So we saw this meaning last class. Meaning of this verse, Vishwapida apahatyai Guru Pavana Pura Adhisham Eva Ashrayamaha. So we take refuge only in Bhagavan for the elimination of all forms of afflictions and problems, and also for the removal of the afflictions of the world also. We take refuge only in Bhagavan. We are dependent only on Bhagavan. Guru Pavana Puradhisham Eva Ashrayamaha. And who is the only absolute self of the whole? Nisseshatmanam. Enam Guru Pavana Puradhisham Eva Ashrayamaha. I also made very clear last class. Tanva vacha dhyava janaha bhajati anyat bhajati. So by doing something physically, orally, mentally, people search for freedom from limitations. People search for happiness through the results of their actions. Unfortunately, how many ever actions they perform, how much ever they do, whatever they do, all their accomplishments, all their achievements, which they gain as a result of their actions, they will always be time bound, because action is time bound. There's no action which is not free from time limitation. Actions are time bound, and the results are also time bound. And because actions are dependent on many accessories, there are karaka nimittam karma. There are many accessories. The subject of action, object of action, instrument of action, the purpose of action, the beneficiary of action, the locus of action. All these are known as karakani. They're all accessories required for performing a karma. So all of them are subject to time limitation, spatial limitation, object limitation. So all these accessories being subject to limitations. So karma, any action, whether it is a ritual, whether it is even other mundane activities, all activities are dependent on these accessories in order to be performed. Therefore, these accessories, which are themselves time bound, naturally, the karma which is dependent on these accessories is also time bound. Therefore, the results are also time bound. Okay, time bound karma, any action subject to time limitation cannot produce a result which is free from time limitation. Therefore, any amount of action a person does and seeking freedom through that karma will be a vain effort. Iyam kshudrata eva sputam. Therefore, it is said, hastalabdhe, durlabhya vastu hastalabdhe yat. When this very rare, the rarest vastu, reality, which itself is of the nature of fullness, is very much available at hand. As at hand means what? Is very much available as our own Swarupam. All that we need to do is we need to make efforts to discover. If we are not able if we are not able to discover, that is because of, not because Bhagavan is not available. Bhagavan is always available. Still we are not able to recognize, discover Bhagavan. That is because of the lack of preparedness on our part, lack of Shraddha on our part. Therefore, we must only work for the qualifications required for discovering Bhagavan all the time, because Bhagavan is always available. So that is why Shastram says, okay, live a life of Karma Yoga to prepare your mind. That is why we need to follow all those disciplines, only to prepare our minds. So living a life of Karma Yoga is to prepare our mind for Jnanam, even to be being meditative upon Bhagavan and worshipping Bhagavan, praying to Bhagavan, singing in praise of Bhagavan, glorifying Bhagavan. All forms of actions associated with the worship, involving oneself in all those karmas, etc., upasanam, meditation, etc., ultimately to prepare our mind for this jnanam. Therefore, the mental purity and mental steadiness, we have to work for our preparation in terms of mental purity and mental steadiness, in order ultimately to have the vision of Bhagavan Swarupam, obtaining as our own Swarupam. Therefore, hastalabdhe, always available at hand. Durlabhya vastu. Why durlabhya vastu? If we are not mentally prepared, then it is durlabhya vastu. Saulabhya vastu. Bhagavan is saulabhya vastu. Why saulabhya vastu? Easily, always available for recognition, as though is at hand. Hastalabdhe. Therefore, saulabhyam vastu. If you are mentally prepared, you're adequately pure and steady, then Bhagavat Swarupam is saulabhyam vastu. If you are mentally not prepared, you are not qualified, then durlabhyam durlabhya vastu. That is why it is Bhattacharya is saying both durlabhya vastu and saulabhya vastu. So Bhagavat Swarupam, which is of the nature of fullness, which is always there as our own Swarupam. Just we have to discover it and claim it as our Swarupam. Always available, therefore Sulabhataya Hastalabdham. Sulabhataya Hastalabdham Vastu. Easily available for recognition as our own Swarupam. Therefore, it is something which is at hand. At the same time, Durlabhyam Vastu. It's a very difficult, rare Vastu, difficult to get, very rare. Why? Because if we are not prepared mentally, it is not accessible. Therefore, it is Durlabhyam Vastu. Both for a mentally prepared, for a person who is prepared minded, for him Saulabhyam Vastu. For a mentally unprepared person is Durlabhyam Vastu. So all that we need to do is we have to work for preparing our minds for accessing, for discovering, for claiming this Bhagavan Swarupam, always there as our own Swarupam. Instead of focusing on preparing our mind for this vision of Bhagavan Swarupam, which is always there as our own Swarupam, if we simply do so many things, and if we search for this fullness, happiness, moksha, or satisfaction in results of actions, then that effort will be vain. It is only purely because of ignorance or lack of understanding. Therefore, Bhattacharya says here, the third line, Vayam tu ete vayam tu sthiratara manasa vishwapida apahatyai. So for the elimination of all our afflictions, Guruvayurappa, we are not dependent on karma phalam. We are not dependent on anything else in the world. We are depending upon only you. Nissesha Atma, we are depending upon only you. Guru Pavanapuradhisham eva ashrayamaha, and who is the absolute self of all the beings. The Purna Purushaha, Guru Pavanapuradhisham eva Nisseshatmanam eva ashrayamaha. So, having said this, we move on to the next verse. Sattam yattat parabhyam aparikalanato nirmalam tena tavat bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahushashruyate vyasavakyam. Sattvam yattat parabhyam aparikalanato nirmalantena tavat bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahushashruyate vyasavakyam. Tat swachhatvad yadachadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam. Tat swachhatvad yadachadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam. Tasmin dhanyaramante Shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete. Tasmin dhanyaramante Shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete. Sattvam yattat parabhyam aparikalanato nirmalam tena tavat. Sattvam yattat parabhyam aparikalanato nirmalam tena tavat bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahushashruyate vyasavakyam. Bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahushashruyate vyasavakyam. Tat swachhatvad yadachadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam. Tat swachhatvad yadachadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam. Tasmin dhanyaramante shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete. So here again, Bhattadaji continues. Dhanyaha ramante. Ramante means revel. The third person present tense plural verb ramante, revel. And who revel? Dhanyaha. Only fortunate people revel. Revel in the vision of fullness. Revel in the vision of Bhagavan. See, reveling in the vision of Bhagavan is actually reveling in the vision of the truth. Reveling in the vision of the truth is reveling in the vision of one's own Swarupam, which is Bhagavan. Because one's own essential nature is Bhagavan. Whether we know, we do not know, whether we understand or we do not understand, whether we already know this fact or we do not know this fact, the fact is that Bhagavan is the essential nature of every being, everything here. Therefore, Bhagavan is our own very nature, our own Swarupam. Once you know this, that Bhagavan is our own Swarupam, then it is possible for one to revel in that vision of Bhagavan Swarupam. And who are the people who have this fortune of reveling in the vision of Bhagavan Swarupam being fullness, fullness. Dhanyaha, only fortunate people revel. Fortunate people are the people who have tapped Bhagavan's grace. Fortunate people who are able to tap Bhagavan's grace, thereby who are able to revel in the vision of Bhagavan. How do they tap Bhagavan's grace? By their total commitment to the Bhagavan's commitment to Bhagavan, total commitment to the pursuit of Jnanam. And thereby, who always live, whatever is the situation, wherever they are, however they are mentally, physically, and they follow the Vedic way of life. The people who followed strictly the Vedic way of life are the people who live a life of dharma. Even they surrender their will to Bhagavan in the form of dharma. They tap Bhagavan's grace. See, there's no way of tapping Bhagavan's grace unless and until we consciously live a life of dharma. So, consciously living a life of dharma means living a life of dharma, knowing the value of dharma. Only by living a life of dharma, one can prepare one's mind. So, people are conscious of dharma and who live a life of dharma are those people who have surrendered their will to Bhagavan in the form of dharma. And such people alone can tap Bhagavan's grace. And only people who have tapped Bhagavan's grace, who have won Bhagavan's heart, and they are blessed with this vision of Bhagavan Swarupam. And they are the Dhanyaha, fortunate people. So Bhattadaji is saying, Guruvarappa, Dhanyaha Ramante, where in thy Swarupam, in thy Rupam also. Tasmin te sugrahe vigrahe shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahe dhanyaha ramante. Fortunate people revel in the vision of Bhagavan's Rupam and Swarupam. How is Bhagavan's Swarupam? Bhagavan's Swarupam is the Mati Madhuram, which is sweet, means which really makes the mind revel in the vision of Bhagavan's Swarupam. So there's no greater luxury than reveling in fullness. Reveling in fullness, obtaining as one's own Swarupam is the greatest luxury. So people who have the clear vision of Bhagavan's Swarupam, obtaining as their own Swarupam, they revel in the vision of fullness of Bhagavan's Swarupam. Therefore, then it is Mati Madhuram. It is very sweet for one's, it is enjoyable for the mind. And a Shruti Madhuram, and even listening to the unfoldment of Bhagavan Swarupam, obtaining as our own Swarupam, the more you listen to the Shastram, the more you listen, you understand, all that you know is you know about yourself, your own essential nature, which is Bhagavan. The more you listen, the more you understand the nature of Bhagavan Swarupam. It also pleases your ears, it pleases your mind. But Bhagavan Swarupam is very pleasing. It pleases the mind, it pleases the ears also. As you are listening, what is said, Guruvarappa, Shrutimati Madhure, your form, your essential nature, which when properly unfolded, when it is heard with Shraddha, when Bhagavan's Swarupam, what is Bhagavan's essential nature? It is revealed in all the Upanishads. And when Bhagavan's Swarupam is properly unfolded by a competent teacher also, when it is heard by the student which is with the great Shraddha, and that Swarupam is pleasing, very pleasing. It is very pleasing the ears of the listener, and also it is very pleasing for the mind also when it is understood. There's also one meaning. Then Sugraham Vigraham. Here Sugraha Vigraha. If we take even Bhagavan's Murti, this Bhagavan's form, which is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam or elsewhere, if you listen to the description of Bhagavan's Murti also, Bhagavan's Murti also, it is Shrutimati Madhuram. Listen to all stories of Bhagavan Krishna. When you listen to the narrative, any narrative of all Leelas of Bhagavan, right from the Bhagavatam, you will never feel tired of listening to Bhagavan's Leelas. All stories of Bhagavan's, what all Bhagavan did as a child, what Bhagavan did as he was growing, how Bhagavan was helpful for Pandavas, as what role he plays as a guru. Any phase of Bhagavan's form, if we take, and always listening to any amount of narrative of Bhagavan's Leelas and Bhagavan's Kathas also, is very pleasant. It pleases the mind, it pleases the ears. When you listening, it pleases the ears. And aware what is listened to, what is heard, it reaches the mind. It remains, comes as understanding also that it pleases the mind. Shrutimati Madhuram, Madhuraha, Sugraha, Vigraha. So, whether you take it, whether you understand Bhagavan's Nirguna Swarupam, it is Shrutimati Madhuram. Whether you understand see Bhagavan's Rupam, whether you understand, listen to the Kathas pertaining to Bhagavan's glories, and then it is Shrutimati Madhuram. So, only fortunate people revel in such Rupam and Swarupam of Bhagavan, which is Sugraha Vigraha. If you take it as Rupam, it is Sugraham Vigraham. So, which is very highly delightful to the ears and the mind. Shrutimati Madhure, and that form of Bhagavan, which can be easily grasped, easily seen. In that Sugrahe Vigrahe Shrutimati Madhure Tasmin Bhagavataha Rupe Dhanyaha Ramante, the fortunate people revel. And what is that Rupam? It is said above, Sattvam Yattat Parabhyam Aparikalanato Nirmalam. It is, Guharappa, your Vapuhu, Bhutaihi Bhutendriyahi Te Vapuhu. Let us see here, Vapuhu means body, Vapuhu means form. So Bhagavan's form, what is Bhagavan's form? Sattvam, it is Sattvam, it's a pure Sattva, which is of the pure sattvic nature. Sattvam Vapuhu Yattat Parabhyam Aparikalanataha. See, Parikalanam means mixing. Aparikalanam means absence of mixing. And Aparikalanataha, due to its not being mixed. Aparikalanataha, we take, because of its not being mixed with Parabhyam, other two gunas. See, para means other. The word para has so many meanings. We have to get the contextual meaning. Para means, in this, the word paraha, param, means absolute, exalted. But here, the word paraha does not mean absolute or exalted. Para means other. So, the parabhyam is a dual case. Parabhyam. There are only three gunas. Sattva gunaha, Rajo gunaha, Tamo gunaha. Of them, Parabhyam Aparikalanataha. Sattvam. So Sattvam, the pure Sattvam, that which is there as pure Sattvam. Yat Tat Sattvam, Sattvam Yat Tat, that pure Sattvam, Varapa, which is not mixed with, which is not mixed with Parabhyam, other two gunas. Parabhyam means which is not mixed with, and which is Sattvam is the purest Vaivik of the three when compared to others. Parabhyam, when compared to other two gunas, Rajas and Tamas, also Tattvam is pure. Then we can say Aparikalanataha. Parikalanam, mixing. Aparikalanam, not mixing. The absence of mixing. Taha, aparikalanataha, due to its sattvam being not mixed, due to its not being mixed with other two gunas, it is pure sattvam. What is Bhagavan's vapuhu is of the nature of pure sattvam, which is not mixed with other two gunas. Therefore, it is what? Pure nirmalam. We take due to its not being mixed with other two gunas, the pure sattvam, your form is of the nature of pure sattvam. Therefore, it is nirmalam, absolutely pure, free from all impurities, absolutely pure. Therefore, tena tavat bhutaihi bhutendriyahi te vapuhu. So, Bhagavan's Swarup is absolutely pure. And what is Bhagavan's form made of? If we say which is Bhagavan's form, the whole Jagat is Bhagavan's Rupam. The whole cosmos is Bhagavan's Vapuhu. And here again, what is, he said, even the total Suksha Prapancha is Bhagavan's Rupam. The total gross universe is Bhagavan's form. What is said, Tena Tavat Bhutaihi. If you look at the entire subtle manifestation, subtle universe is Bhagavan's Rupam. There's nothing which is not Bhagavan's Rupam. Even though Bhagavan is essentially formless reality, the whole entire subtle manifestation is Bhagavan's Rupam. And what is it made of? Bhutaihi. If you look at Bhagavan as the one with the Rupam of the whole cosmos, especially Sukshma Prapancha, subtle universe, and Bhagavan's form is made of subtle elements. He said, Bhutaihi means subtle elements. Bhuta Indriyaihi. Bhutaihi Bhutendriyaihi. Again, Indriyani. Indriyani, you can say all Sukshma, the totality of subtle powers, the totality of powers of organs of actions, the totality of powers of organs of knowledge, samashti. We take all the subtle powers, the powers of organs of actions, the powers of organs of knowledge, all physiological functions, all the antahkaranani, all the minds. If we take the entire, the total subtle manifestation, the Sukshma Shariram obtaining in every individual being also, if we take, it's all Bhagavan. Therefore, if you look at Bhagavan as the one who is the name of the whole, then Bhattadri says here, Guruvarappa, your form is constituted of elements and all sense organs and organs of actions. And which are born of the pure Sattvam. Tena Bhutaihi. Tena Bhutaihi means born of those Sattva. Born of the Sattva, your form is constituted of Bhutendriyahi Bhutaihi. Your form is constituted of subtle elements, organs of action, organs of actions, organs of knowledge, and which are all born of the pure sattva. Iti bahushaha shuyate. Bahushaha means what? Often, repeatedly heard. Where do we hear? Only Vyasa Bhagavan describes. There must be many people, many Mahatmas must have described Bhagavan's Rupam and Bhagavan's Swarupam. But still, when we think of any of the Puranas, all Puranas, only Vyasa Bhagavan describes Bhagavan's Rupam and Swarupam, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, throughout the Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses, we hear a lot about Bhagavan's Rupam and Swarupam. Therefore, it is said here, Vyasa Vakyam Shriyate Gvarapa, how your form is constituted of. What is it formed of? How, that is, the description of your form is repeatedly heard from Bhagavan Vyasa's words. Vyasa Vakyam Shriyate, and said, Bhattadri continues, Tat Swachhatvat. So even though Bhagavan is in the form of the entire Sukshma Prapancha, which is constituted of all these elements and organs, etc., still Bhagavan is essentially pure knowledge. Therefore it is said, Tat Swachhatvat. Swachhatvat means Bhagavan's Swarupam, because of its absolute purity. Swachhatvat, because of its purity, because of its subtleness, because of its abstractness, being the most abstract and subtlest, it is of nature of absolute purity. It is not touched and tainted by any impurities. Because of that, Swachhatvat, Achaditam, it is not covered. Bhagavan Swarupam, already I mentioned in my previous class, Bhagavan Swarupam is not covered by anything. What is it? Achaditam, uncovered Swarupam of Bhagavan. Parasukha Chidgarbha Nirbhasa Rupam. Parasukha Chidgarbha Nirbhasa Rupam. Bhagavan Swarupam is ever shining as the pure consciousness and fullness. Parasukham means absolute happiness. Chit means consciousness. And Garbha Nirbhasa Rupam means which is there as the very core truth. So it's absolute reality obtaining as the core truth. Therefore, it's Garbha, which is of the nature of limitless happiness consciousness, which is always shining at the same time, which is not covered by anything, which cannot be covered. Its non-coverability, already I mentioned, is because of its subtleness, abstractness, and purity. Swachhatvat yad achadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam. So this is how Bhagavan is essentially, and this is what is Bhagavan's Rupam and also Bhagavan's Swarupam. Therefore, Bhattadji says here, Tasmin Dhanyaha Ramante Gvarapa. It is only fortunate people who have this clear vision of your Swarupam being uncovered, absolute, the limitless happiness consciousness, just ever shining as the core truth. In that Swarupam, people revel. Only fortunate people revel who have punyam and who have tapped their grace. Thereby who could have the vision, only those people revel. Dhanyaha ramante tasmin shruti mati madhure sugrahe vigrahe te shrut vigrahe sugrahe. So Bhattadji first says how Bhagavan's Rupam, if we see, is the whole, all that is here is only Bhagavan's Rupam. And all this Bhagavan's Rupam is what? Constituted of elements and elementals and all this. Organs, sense organs, organs of actions, etc. If we take, the whole is Bhagavan's Rupam. There's nothing which is not Bhagavan's Rupam here. And if you see what is Bhagavan, essentially, Achadita, Swachatvad Achadita Parasukha Chidgarbha Nirbhasa Rupam. This is how Bhagavan is. This is Bhagavan's Swarupam, this is Bhagavan's Rupam. And in such Bhagavan's Swarupam and Rupam, and which is easily graspable, once you are mentally prepared, which can be easily grasped, in such easily graspable, easily appreciable, this Bhagavan's Rupam and Swarupam, which is very delightful for the people who listen to the unfoldment of Bhagavan's Swarupam, or who listen to the narratives of Bhagavan's Kathas, is very delightful. Bhagavan's Rupam and the Swarupam are really, really delightful to the ears and also to the mind. And fortunate people revel in such Bhagavan's Rupam and Swarupam, which is easily attainable, easily graspable once you are prepared. This is the content of this third verse. Sattvam yattat parabhyam aparikalanato nirmalantena tavad bhutair bhutendriyaiste vapuriti bahusha shruyate vyasavakyam tatsvachatvad yadachadita parasukha chidgarbha nirbhasa rupam tasmin dhanyaramante Shrutimati madhure sugrahe vigrahete. See, I'm not really going out to unfold the Bhagavan Swarupam, because people, most of you are already exposed to Vedanta classes. That I'm not doing here. I'm just saying what is Bhagavan Swarupam and what is Bhagavan's Rupam. Maybe some time later, once I complete this Dashakam, then I can go out to the track and show what exactly is meant by Bhagavan Swarupam. I can also make it like a Vedanta class where we can really see the Swarupam of Bhagavan. Is it clear now? Okay. Nishkampe nityapurne niravadhi paramananda piyusha rupe. Nishkampe nityapurne niravadhi paramananda piyusha rupe. Nirlinaneka mukta vali subhagatame nirmala brahma sindho. Nirlinaneka mukta vali subhagatame nirmala brahma sindho. Kallololla satulyam khalu vimalataram sattvamustadatma. Kallololla satulyam khalu vimalataram sattvamustadatma. Kasmanno nishkalastvam sakala iti vachastvatkala sveva bhuman. Kasmanno nishkalastvam sakala iti vachastvatkala sveva bhuman. Nishkampe nityapurne niravadhi paramananda piyusha rupe. Nishkampe nityapurne niravadhi paramananda piyusha rupe. Nirlinaneka मुक्तावली सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावली सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ कल्लोलोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कल्लोलोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचस्त्वत्कलास्वेव भूमन् कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचस्त्वत्कलास्वेव भूमन् निष्कम्पे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निष्कम्पे नित्यपूर्णे निरवधि परमानंद पीयूष रूपे निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावली सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ निर्लीनानेक मुक्तावली सुभगत में निर्मल ब्रह्म सिंधौ कल्लोलोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कल्लोलोल्लासतुल्यं खलु विमलतरं सत्त्वमाहुस्तदात्मा कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचस्त्वत्कलास्वेव भूमन् कस्मान्नो निष्कलस्त्वं सकल इति वचस्त्वत्कलास्वेव भूमन्. So, in this fourth verse, Sri Bhattadriji addressing Bhagavan as Bhuman. You know, it's very important to see because Bhattadriji is talking to Navguruvayurappa, Bhagavan here. So how he's addressing Bhagavan, we always have to start like that. The addressing Bhagavan as, hey Bhuman. This word Bhuman is actually Nakaranta Pullinga Shabdaha. And in nominative case, it is Bhuma. So in vocative case, Bhuman. So Bhuma, actually this word is used in Upanishads. And Bhattadji is also using here. So Bhuma means, for people who are very familiar with the word Bhuma, and we always Bhuma means what comes to our mind is Mother Earth. Bhuma. Bhuma Devi. And Bhuma means Mother Earth. But here, the word Bhuma does not mean Mother Earth. Because we're quite familiar, that meaning is quite familiar for us. We're so much used to that meaning. Therefore, Bhuma means Mother Earth only will come to our mind. Isn't it? Bhu Devi also, Mahalakshmi. But here, Bhuma is one word which means Brahma. Bhuma ityasya shabdasya Brahma ityartaha. The actual meaning of the word Bhuma is Brahma. So Brahma means what? It is said, same meaning. If you know the meaning of the word Brahma, it is same meaning of the word Bhuma also. So you can say Bhuma means one who is of the nature of infinitude. One who is of the nature of limitlessness is Bhuma. And here we are addressing Bhagavan. Who is this Bhagavan who is standing in Guruvayur in front of us in a small murti? Small murti which is there is actually Bhuma, infinite reality. Reality, the very reality, the truth of the whole Jagat, which is of the nature of infinitude. which is of the nature of limitlessness, is Guru Krishna here. So, Hey Bhuman, again, one who is of the nature of infinitude, limitlessness means, it means Bhagavan here is the very reality, the abstract reality which is always there, which is everywhere, and which alone is in the form of everything. Therefore, the reality is free from time limitation. Because already we saw in the very opening verse, Kala Desha Avadibhyam Nirmuktam. Kala Desha Avadibhyam Nirmuktam Nityamuktam. That is why Bhattacharya is addressing here Guru Varapa as Bhuman. So Bhuman means, oh Lord, who is of nature of infinitude, who is always there. There's never a time Bhagavan is not there. Always is there. Bhagavan as the truth is always there. Therefore, time-wise limitless. Bhagavan is there as is there, all pervasively. Pervading everything, Bhagavan is there as the very truth. Therefore, Bhagavan is spatially also limitless. And Bhagavan, being all pervasive, timeless and spatially limitless, there is nothing, not even one form, subtle, gross, known, unknown, which is not Bhagavan here. Everything that is here is Bhagavan. How you have to see, every wave is ocean. There's not even one wave which is not water, not one ornament which is not gold. So there's nothing which is not Bhagavan here. Therefore, Bhagavan as the very all-pervasive, time-wise, limitless reality, Bhagavan alone is in the form of everything. Therefore, Bhagavan is free from object limitation also. Desha, Kala, Vastu, Aparichinnam Vastu, Bhagavan as the very truth. Therefore, Bhagavan is Bhuma. Bhattacharya is addressing, Hey Bhuman. See, this, when you say addressing, you can't bring in all this. Just one word, Bhuman. Hey Bhuman. Oh, the Lord who is of the nature of infinitude, essentially, Bhuman. Having addressed, he says, now, Tvam Nishkalaha. Nishkalaha, Tvam Nishkalaha. Nishkalaha, Kala means digit, a part. And Nishkalaha means, Gvarapa, you are a partless whole. You are the very address, how Bhattacharya addresses Guru Krishna here, Bhuman, that itself is conveying the fact that Bhagavan is essentially the one indivisible, partless whole, the reality. So Nishkalaha means partless. Why Bhagavan is partless? Also indivisible, also undivided, whole. Tvam Nishkalaha, you are partless, indivisible, whole. Why? Because how Bhagavan is Nishkalaha? Because what is Bhagavan essentially? Bhagavan is essentially Chidgarbha Nirbhasa Rupaha. We already saw Bhagavan is as a core. Bhagavan is of the nature of limitless consciousness existence. And if we take the consciousness is one, it's indivisible, it's partless whole. How is the space? Even the space, which is part of the gross universe, the space which you're experiencing is part of the gross universe. And even this space being the subtlest of everything in the world. And space itself is one, space itself is indivisible, space itself is partless, space itself is undivided. Why it is one? Why it is undivided? How it is partless? Because it is the subtlest. Being the subtlest, it is partless. At the same time, it is indivisible. And what about Bhagavan? Bhagavan as the truth, which is pervasive, even pervasive of the space also. Bhagavan is the most pervasive. So Bhagavan is who is pervasive of the all-pervasive space. definitely is the most abstract and subtlest truth essentially. Therefore, Bhagavan is all pervasive, means Bhagavan is indivisible, undivided, partless. Bhagavan has no parts. Nishkalaha. That is the Nishkalaha. But still, he is also known as what? Sakalaha. When is he Sakalaha? When does Bhagavan become the one with the parts? So, Savayava Murti. Even though Bhagavan is Niravayava Murti, Bhagavan is of the form of partlessness. Because Bhagavan is of nature of all pervasiveness. So Bhagavan is partless, indivisible, undivided whole as the very reality. Nishkalaha. But still Sakalaha iti. He said, looked upon as Sakalaha, the one with parts and form, Savayava Murti. That is because of the Bhagavan's avatars. Because Bhagavan assumes different forms and different avatars. Because of the assumption of forms in avatars, Bhagavan is also said to be Sakalaha, one with parts, one with form. So Sakalaha iti vachaha dvarpa tvam nishkalaha. Why? Kasmat. He's asking like a question here, okay? Kasmat. Why you should not be called Nishkalaha? Because you are absolutely Nishkalaha. But still, Sakalaha iti vachaha, somehow this expression that you are Sakalaha is there because you have parts, you have form, because you assume forms in different avatars. Is it clear? Sakalaha iti vachaha tvat kalasu eva. Only in your different avatars, when you assume a form, then you have limbs, etc., then you are known as Sakalaha. Otherwise, you are Nishkalaha. Where absolutely you are Nishkalaha. But because of assumption of murtis in different avatars, you're also known as Sakalaha. The word Sakalaha also, the expression Sakalaha also is there. Having said this much, at least we'll come back to this line again later on. Now Bhagavan says here Bhattadriji is saying, who is Bhagavan? Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. I'm going up and down, doesn't matter, but still we'll get a complete picture of what is Bhattadriji seeing here. Bhagavan Krishna is Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. Nirmala, pure, absolutely pure Brahma Sindhu, the ocean of the reality. The word Brahma actually does not mean reality. The word Brahma actually implies the reality in terms of its nature of limitlessness, infinitude. As I already said, the word Brahma and the word Bhuma mean the same. Only difference is Brahman is a Nakaranta Apusakalinga Shabdaha. Bhuma is a Nakaranta Pullinga Shabdaha. That is the only difference. Otherwise, there's no difference in meaning. So, Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. Who is Guruvar Krishna? Guruvarappan is Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. So, absolutely pure reality implied by the term Brahma. And which is like an ocean. So, Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. And what is that reality? Absolutely pure reality implied by the term Brahma. And the reality, why is it implied by the term Brahma, is we have already seen. Kala Desha Avadibhyam Nirmuktam. So reality is free from all limitations, possible limitations. Time limitation, spatial limitation, object limitation. Therefore, is implied by the term Brahma. And is absolutely pure, untainted by any of the impurities. Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. So there's an ocean of limitless consciousness, absolutely pure consciousness. Bhagavan Krishna here is the ocean of absolutely pure, limitless consciousness. Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. And in that ocean of limitless consciousness, Nirmala Brahma Sindhu is locative case. Is there? And what sort of Nirmala Brahma Sindhu it is? The adjectives are given here. Nishkampaha, Nishkampaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. So this, usually, the ocean full of waves is always kampaha. Always it is constantly moving, motion. Whereas here, Nishkampaha Brahma Sindhu, this ocean of pure consciousness. Here is Nishkampaha, is of the nature of motionlessness, unmoving, changeless, is of the nature of motionlessness, changelessness. Nishkampaha. Usually, ocean means you see always movement of waves. But here, this ocean of limitless consciousness, pure consciousness, is of the nature of changelessness, motionlessness. So, Nishkampaha, Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. Then Nitya Purnaha, Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. And it is this ocean of limitless pure consciousness is ever of the nature of fullness. Nitya Purnaha, ever of the nature of fullness. So, there's no such a thing called reduction or addition. There's no increase or decrease of this consciousness. There's always of the nature of fullness. Nitya Purna. Then Niravadhi Paramananda Piyusha Rupaha. See, don't feel tired. Bhattacharya is using his words, his erudition beautifully here. Niravadhi. Avadhi means period of time, but here Niravadhi should take as limitation, free from limitation. Niravadhi. Parama Ananda, absolute happiness. So Niravadhi, limitless, absolute happiness of nectar. Piyusha means nectar. So this ocean of consciousness is limitless, absolute happiness and nectar. The nectar of absolute, limitless happiness. This Bhagavan Guruvar Krishna, who is the ocean of limitless consciousness, is actually the ocean of the nectar of limitless absolute happiness. Exactly, I'm translating. The ocean of the nectar of absolute limitless happiness. Niravadhi, limitless, Parama, absolute, Ananda, happiness, Piyusha, nectar. So, Niravadhi Paramananda Piyusha Rupaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu is absolutely pure ocean of consciousness, is the nectar of limitless, absolute happiness. And in such a notion, Nishkampaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu, Nitya Purnaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu, ever of nature of fullness, Niravadhi Paramananda Piyusha Rupaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. One more adjective here. There are 4 adjectives are given. Nirleena, Aneka, Mukta, Avali, Subhagatamaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. Nirleena, these are the verses, the first Dashakam. We'll enjoy later on all Bhagavan's kathas, very mesmerizing kathas later on when we enter into the actual, when we enter into the story part. Until then, we have to see Bhagavan Swarupam. It is this Bhagavan who is of this nature is going to be described later on as Krishna with the all delightful stories of Bhagavan. We're going to hear later on. So it is said, Nirlina Aneka Muktavali Subhagatamaha Nirmala Brahma Sindhu. Here, Nirlina, let us take about Nirlina first. Nirlina means resolved, totally resolved. Lina itself means resolved. Nirlina means totally resolved. Aneka means many. And here, the Muktavali has two meanings. Okay, the word Mukta means pearl. The word Mukta also means liberated Mahatma. A Jnani who is free from bondage is also Mukta Purusha. So, Nirlina Aneka Mukta Avali. Nirlina resolved, Aneka many, Mukta liberated person, also it means pearl. Avali means row, line, or bunch. Different meanings. The word Avali has different meanings. Then Subhagatamaha. Subhagatamaha here means beautiful, shining with beauty. Subhagatamaha, shining with beauty. Subhagatamaha. See, Subhaga itself means beautiful. Subhagataraha, more beautiful. Subhagatamaha, most beautiful. If you see, in this, here the Bhashyakara says actually, Nishkampaha means Nirvikaraha. And also changeless. We can say, I said motionless also. Nityapurnaha Akhandaha. Then Akhandaha. Always it is the same. The Niravadhihi Kalataha Deshataha Upaditaha Cha Aparichinnaha. Niravadhihi means what? Niravadhihi means Kalataha Deshataha Upaditaha Aparichinnaha. Paramanandaha. Eva. Piyusham. Paramanandaha eva Piyusham. What is nectar? The doubt might come. What is nectar? He says, nectar means Paramanandaha eva Piyusham. There's no, nectar means don't think of, imagine anything else here. Paramanandaha eva nectar. Piyusham. Okay, that's the meaning given here. Paramanandaha eva Piyusham. It's absolute happiness is the nectar. There's no other nectar. Then, Muktaihi Aswadaniyatvat Tadrupe. And then that is how Bhagavan has to be enjoyed only in Bhagavan, the form of limitless absolute happiness only. Bhagavan has to be recognized only in the form of limitless happiness. How do the liberated people recognize Bhagavan? Only in terms of the nature of Bhagavan being absolute happiness. Therefore, here the four adjectives are given, four adjectives which describe Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is likened to here the ocean of consciousness. And we also see here, so Niravadhi Paramananda Piyusha Rupe Nityapurne Nirnishkampe Nirlina Aneka Muktavali Subhagatame. So here, Subhagatama, I'm moving on to the next word, Subhagatamaha. Why this is Nirlinanam Apunaravrittim Gatanam. Nirlinanam means Apunaravrittim Gatanam. I mean people who attained Videha Muktihi. Okay, people who attained Videha Mukti are meant by the word Muktana, Mukta. Nirlinanam Aneka nirleenanam apunaravrittingatanam anekesham muktanam brahma sayujyam praptanam avalihi. The word avalihi literally means row or line, but here you should take it as samuhaha, a group. Samuhaha, a multitude, a group. Samuhaha. Tena subhagatame. So subhagatamaha means ati manoharaha. The meaning of the word subhagatamaha means ati manoharaha. Very beautiful. Anyeshamapi mumuksha janakaha iti bhavaha. So, Bhagavan's, how is it? See, the ocean is always filled with the ocean is beautiful, means ocean contains pearls. And here this ocean of consciousness, Bhagavan has samuhaha. As a, who are what's the multitudes of the Videha Muktas. The people who have attained mukti, they have become resolved in Bhagavan. They become one with Bhagavan. Nirleena aneka muktavali subhagatamaha brahma sindhu means devotion, which is ati manoharaha, which is beautifully shining, having many liberated Mahatmas resolved in Bhagavan, who have become one with Bhagavan. Is it clear? Nirleena aneka mukta avali subhagatamaha brahma sindhu is long compounds. It needs out of patience and also to appreciate the beauty of it. Nirleena aneka muktavali Nirleenaneka muktavali subhagatamaha brahma sindhu. This Bhagavan, who is nothing but ocean of limitless consciousness, which has many Videha Muktas resolved in it. Where are the Jivan Muktas? Nirleena. All the Jivan Muktas remain resolved, having become one with Bhagavan. There's no, it's like a wave which has resolved in water. Like that here, all the first Jivan Muktas, when the Parabdha gets exhausted and they leave the physical body and go, when they leave the physical body, after the fall of the physical body, Jivan Muktas become Videha Muktas. And what happens to them? What happens to Videha Muktas? They remain one with Bhagavan as the very reality. So all Videha Muktas remain resolved in Bhagavan as Bhagavan, one with Bhagavan. Therefore, this Bhagavan, who is the ocean of consciousness, the ocean of absolutely pure consciousness, the ocean of the nectar of absolute limitless happiness, has the Videha Muktas resolved in it. Therefore, Aneka Nirleena Aneka Muktavali Subhagatamaha. This has the beauty of, this ocean has the beauty of having many Videha Muktas resolved in it. An ordinary ocean is Manoharaha, with having many multitudes of pearls in it. Whereas Bhagavan, this Nirmala Brahma Sindhu, has many Videha Muktas resolved in it. Isn't it beautiful to know this? Okay. So I'll tell you, I'm saying every meaning of every word. Please make a note. See, Nirleena. One second. Okay. Let me tell you every meaning of every word here first. Nishkampaha means nirvikaraha. It's also akshobhyaha, gambhiraha. Also another meaning is given, which is motionless, changeless. Then nityapurnaha means ever of the nature of fullness. Akhandaha. See, other ocean also, Varshasu Prabhuta Nana Nadi Jaloghe Sati Grishme Tasmin Asati Cha Ekarupe. What happens? The ocean, whether it rains, in rains, many rivers filled with water come and join the ocean. Then also ocean does not become bigger than what it is, does not become small in summer when the water gets evaporated also. Ocean remains the same, like that. Here Bhagavan also is ever of the nature of changelessness and ever of the nature of fullness. Then Niravadhihi Kalataha Deshataha Upaditaha cha Aparichinnaha Paramanandaha eva Piyusham. What is Piyusham? That is said, Niravadhihi, Niravadhi. We take the word Niravadhi Paramananda Piyusha Rupaha. I've already told the meaning, but I wanted you to know the Sanskrit word also. Niravadhi, he means Kalataha, Deshataha, Upadhitaha cha Aparichinnaha. That one word Niravadhi means what? Bhagavan is the very reality which is free from time, which is free from time-wise, spatially, and upadhitaha, upadhi, limitations. Aparichinnaha, free from limitations of upadhis, time and space. Then Paramanandaha, eva piyusham. Absolute happiness itself is nectar. There's no other nectar. Then, moving to the next word, Muktaihi Aswadaniyatvat. Why? Muktaihi Aswadaniyatvat. He says, Bhagavan has to be relished only in terms of his nature of happiness. How are these people who are liberated people, how do they relish Bhagavan? See, people who are reveling in the vision of fullness, reveling in the vision of Bhagavan, relish Bhagavan. Who have the vision of Bhagavan, relish Bhagavan. Who can relish? If you do not know what Laddu is, how can I relish Laddu? You must know what Laddu is to relish Laddu, isn't it? Similarly, who are the people who really relish Bhagavan? Who have discovered Bhagavan Swarupa as their own Swarupam? And such people, what do they relish? They relish Bhagavan in terms of nature of fullness, happiness. Therefore, Muktaihi, therefore happiness is said to be Amritam. Understand? See, he says, Paramanandaha eva Piyusham. Absolute happiness itself is nectar. And that absolute happiness alone is relished, which has to be relished by all the liberated people. So means the Videha Muktas or Jivan Muktas relish Bhagavan's Swarupam of absolute happiness. Means they revel in fullness. That's the meaning. Okay, that is Bhagavan's Swarupam. Piyushasya Swarupam means Prakashaha, Utpatti Yasmat. Another meaning also is given. Piyushasya Rupam means Prakasha Utpatti Yasmat, the one who is of the nature of knowledge. But because of whose presence alone, there is everything shines. One who is of the nature of knowledge, therefore, because of whose presence, everything shines. Therefore, also Bhagavan is said to be Piyushaha. Anyway, So nirlinanam apunaravrittim gatanam. So nirlina means the people who have attained videha muktihi. Apunaravrittim gatanam. Nirlinanam means apunaravrittim gatanam, of those people who attain videha mukti. Anekesham muktanam brahma sayujyam praptanam samuhaha. Brahma sayujyam praptanam samuhaha means people who have become one with Bhagavan, remaining resolved in Bhagavan as Bhagavan. They are videha muktas. And with those muktas, this ocean of the pure consciousness is shining with the pearls of videha muktas who remain resolved in Bhagavan as Bhagavan. Is it clear? This is the meaning of this expression. Nirlinanam apunaravrittim gatanam anekesham muktanam brahma sayujyam praptanam avalihi samuhaha tena subhagatame ati manohare. So anyesham api muksha janakaha. See, Bhagavan's being, Bhagavan's swarupam is fullness, happiness. Therefore, who will say no, I don't want happiness? Therefore, when you listen to the nature of Bhagavan, what Bhagavan's swarupam is, and even other people also will have desire for moksha. Muksha janakaha. Bhagavan's swarupam is fullness, that it really creates the desire for moksha in people. So Bhagavan's swarupam being happiness, it creates even desire for moksha in people. That's why it is said, very nice, beautiful line, Nirlina aneka muktavali subhagatame nirmala brahma sindau. It is Bhagavan is this, okay? Nishkampaha nirmala brahma sindhu, nitya purnaha nirmala brahma sindhu, niravadhi paramananda piyusha rupaha nirmala brahma sindhu, nirlina aneka muktavali subhagatamaha nirmala brahma sindhu. In such a nirmala brahma sindhu, he says, Kallola ullasa tulyam Khalu Vimalataram Sattamahustadatma. Okay. Now you have seen all these words are adjectives. And Kallola Ullasa Tulyam Khalu Vimalataram. Kallola Ullasa. Kallola means wave. No? In Sanskritam, every word has so many meanings. So every object is denoted by so many words. Highly expressive language, we all know. Kallolaha, tarangaha, you all would have heard. So now kallolaha means tarangaha. Ullasa kallola, kallolanam, taranganam, ullasaha. Means shining. It's shining. Ocean is shining with many waves. And here, Bhagavan is also shining with the many waves of what? Kallola ullasa. Ullasa means shining. Ullasati. Iti ullasa. Tulyam. So just as the ocean which is shining with many waves, so also this ocean of pure consciousness, Brahma, Bhagavan, is also shining with many forms. Khalu Vimalataram Sattvam Ahuhu. Tadatma, here, this third line, this third line needs unfoldment. It will take time. So we'll stop here now. We'll continue on Sunday. Okay? Is it clear? We are still doing the fourth verse. We'll do the fourth verse again. Because all big compounds and nice, beautiful words also. And if you have any of you have any doubts here, please do text me. Then I can reply to you, or you can email me also otherwise. Okay? Do you all enjoy the class?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Dee.
Yes.
Yes, very much
Can you
enjoy.
have your
Divine.
email ID or
Very,
contact?
very nice.
How to
Very nice.
Yeah.
It is a
These
divine
are very
manner.
profound verses. First dashakam we have to, it will be like this. Second dashakam will be like that. And the third. And once we move on to up till 10th dashakam, we'll have all, so whole Shastram is brought in here. See, Bhagavatam, people listen also. It's not just the kathas of Bhagavan, isn't it? It's all, we have Bhagavan Surupam and Bhagavan's kathas, everything it has.